The god spirits thought of many things in a short period of time, but they tacitly kept quiet and no one replied. The original master god tier snorted coldly in his heart. A bunch of eagles that don't fly until they see a rabbit. I can promise everyone that I can open our original spirit race's treasure vault and give you one of the treasure as long as you cooperate with our original spirit race and join forces to suppress the common people's regal, causing the other party to lose the right to compete for the Lord of all races. He said indifferently. Really? Hearing this, the eyes of the god spirits immediately burned with passion. That was the original spirit race's treasure vault, one of the most famous treasuries of the races in the endless heavens. It was said that true god-tier treasures were only the lowest-level treasures inside. Only master god-tier treasures could be considered precious. There were even supreme god realm treasures accumulated by the original spirit race since they were born. Even existences like the supreme god realm wanted to obtain the supreme god realm treasures inside. It could be seen how precious and rare the treasures in this treasure vault were. If they could obtain a treasure from the primordial treasure vault, even if it was the lowest level true god-tier treasure, it would be enough to greatly increase their strength. Since the common people's regal doesn't know where he should stand, us seniors should teach him what to do. A lord from a weak human race actually wants to taint the status of a lord of all races? Dream on. Don't worry, Lord Origin. We'll let him know what it means to be powerful among the top bloodline races. The reason why the common people's regal's reputation was so widespread in the past was only because of the protection of the supreme will. Moreover, we didn't deal with him seriously. From now on, we will be serious. With our cooperation, the other party definitely won't have any fate with the position of the Lord of all races. An existence like the Lord of all races can only be possessed by races like us who are born with powerful bloodlines. The divine spirits were no longer as silent as before. All of them patted their chests and promised the original Master God. The original Master God nodded in satisfaction. The figure of the common people's regal flashed through his mind, and his heart gradually turned cold. Regardless of whether you relied on your strength and brain to reach this height, or perhaps you are the son of destiny personally chosen by the supreme will to let you walk here unimpeded. What our original spirit race wants would definitely be ours. It must be. There was also the War Master God, the Wisdom Master God, and the Machina Master God. The three of them were already on his side. Is it because of the 10 sacred blessings Lord Talent? Origin thought to himself. This was the only possibility that could make 3 of the 10 Master God-tier existences gather beside a Lord at the same time at this stage. This common people's regal had at least 3 mythical tier Lord Talents. What a terrifying possessor of the Lord Talent. No wonder he could walk the path of a Lord and even become a regal. Thinking of the regal status that the other party had, he could not help but reveal a hint of jealousy in his eyes. Regal status. Moreover, he had directly stepped onto the path of a Lord's law from the moment he stepped onto the path of a God spirit. He was an innate regal. Even an existence like him yearned to obtain it. This was because at his level, he already knew very clearly that if he wanted to break through the bottleneck of the Master God tier and become a supreme God realm venerable, one of the important elements was to comprehend the Lord's law and obtain the status of a regal. It could be said that the common people's regal had already possessed one of the qualifications to become a supreme God realm from the moment he stepped onto the path of the God spirit. Even higher willpower level existences had a very small chance of success to become an innate regal. As for those who did not comprehend the Lord's law, they could only sublimate the law they comprehended postnatal and advance to the Lord's law to become a postnatal regal. Only then could they have a very small chance of becoming the supreme God realm. However, it was already the limit for such a postnatal regal to reach the supreme God realm with an extremely small chance. It was impossible for him to take another step forward and become a will-level existence. However, there was another possibility that could allow a postnatal regal to easily become a supreme God realm or even a will-level existence. That was to be supported by the Lord of all races. The status of the Lord of all races was comparable to the supreme will. In some cases, it was even higher than the supreme will. As long as such an existence spoke and spoke, it could easily create a supreme God realm existence. It was not difficult to spend some effort to create a will existence. This was also why the original Master God Tier and the other 10 Master God Tiers had added their strength to the Lord talent. They wanted to use this method to get to know and even create the Lord of all races. This way, when the other party grew up in order to repay them, and would naturally agree to become a supreme God realm existence or even an existence with a will, then the original Master God did not say much. After setting a time to cooperate and discuss how to deal with the common people's regal, he left. After Origin left, these god spirits conversed through their divine senses for a while before returning to make preparations. Speaking of which, at the capital of the Kidok Divine Kingdom, Zhou looked at the announcement in front of him in surprise. I've become the Monster Demon Emperor King. Is this worth making a special announcement? Why does this feel a little like the world boss in the game appearing and then making a server announcement? Will there be a bunch of guys interested in me, the world boss, coming to deal with me next? He could not help but complain but quickly stopped caring. With his current Master God Tier combat power, in addition to the protection of the 3 great Master God Tier existences, in the absence of the Supreme God Realm and stronger experts, Zhou could not think of anyone in the myriad worlds who could hurt him. Can't get cocky, Zhou warned himself in his heart. Then he had a thought. A golden illusory cube appeared in his palm. The surface of this illusory cube emitted a misty golden gas that was like golden sand. The surface was engraved with mysterious precious words, looking very luxurious and psychedelic. Then, Zhou placed all the treasures in the world rings into the golden cube. This golden cube was the mythical tier 1 Lord talent that he had awakened through cultivating the supreme sacred body for the entire night yesterday. The first treasure vault. His original talent was the extraordinary tier Lord talent, King's Treasure Box. After the upgrade of the supreme sacred body, it became the number 1 treasure vault of the mythical tier, the only Lord talent. Zhou glanced at the illusory golden cube. A text notification appeared. Treasure name, First Treasure Vault, Soul Binded, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Treasure grade, Master God Tier, Unique. Treasure effect 1, Unlimited space. The first treasure vault is the number 1 supreme treasure vault space in the myriad worlds. It contains unlimited space and can store endless treasures. Moreover, some treasures with special storage environments can also automatically generate the corresponding treasure storage environment to safeguard the integrity of the treasure to the greatest extent. Treasure effect 2, Automatic pickup. After the owner of the first treasure vault kills the enemy and extracts the loots can automatically be stocked in the treasure vault space of the first treasure vault and can't be peeped at by other life forms. Treasure effect 3, Sublimation. Treasure stocked in the first treasure vault. If it is damaged, it can be restored to its intact form on the second day after being placed in the treasure vault. If the intact treasure is placed in the treasure vault, under the continuous influence of the sublimation power contained in the treasure vault, it can be upgraded to a high-level treasure of +1 quality after 7 days. Note: cannot produce a repetitive sublimation effect on the same treasure. The highest quality treasure can be upgraded to Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Treasure effect 4, Creation. The first treasure vault has the ability to create endless treasures. Every day, a God Spirit level treasure will automatically be born in the treasure vault. Every 3 days, a true God level treasure will automatically be born in the treasure vault. Every 7 days, a Master God level treasure will automatically be born in the treasure vault. Treasure description: a fashioning from the Lord talent. It has been crazily fought over by countless God spirits. It contains an infinite treasure vault space, and is the number 1 treasure vault in the myriad worlds. Zhou looked at his first treasure vault and nodded in satisfaction. He was naturally very satisfied with this mythical tier unique Lord talent. Firstly, the first talent effect, infinite space, satisfied his need to store a large number of treasures. Needless to say, automatic pickup was a necessary ability. Sublimation was a very top-notch innate ability. As long as any treasure was damaged, it could be directly repaired in a day. 7 days later it could be directly raised to the level of quality +1. In other words, a legendary tier treasure could become a low-tier deity-level treasure after being placed in the first treasure vault for 7 days. High-tier deity-level treasures could become true god-tier treasures after being placed in the first treasure vault for 7 days. True god-tier advanced grade treasures could become master god-tier treasures after being placed in the first treasure vault for 7 days. Not to mention a master god-tier, even the 10 master god-tiers would go crazy over this effect. Even existences at the Supreme God Realm would probably covet it. Even existences like the Supreme God Realm could not treat Master God-tier treasures as trash after all. Master God-tier treasures were considered very good treasures to them. Moreover, the time to improve its quality was only 7 days. This was only 7 days. Even though 7 days was a long time for Zhou, 7 days was nothing to experts. The time they took to comprehend the laws at any time was calculated in hundreds or thousands of years. In other words, they could completely repair all the treasures they had after casually comprehending the laws 2 or 3 times. Then, their quality would increase by 1. This increase was almost equivalent to increasing their wealth by more than 10 times. The fourth effect of this talent was even more shocking. In just a day, a God Spirit level treasure could automatically be born in the treasure vault. In just 3 days, a true God tier treasure would automatically be born in the treasure vault. In just 7 days, a master God tier treasure would automatically be born in the treasure vault. Even Zhou, who had countless treasures, would be envious of such an effect. Even Supreme God Realm experts would crazily snatch this number 1 treasure vault because of this talent effect. The time to derive the treasure was too short after all. Could even be said to be ridiculously short. To those gods who had lived for countless years, they only needed 1,000 years to obtain 365,000 God Spirit level treasures, about 120,000 true God tier treasures, and more than 52,000 master God tier treasures. He could do this in 1,000 years. What about 10,000 years? 100,000 years? Could be said that, with the existence of this first treasure vault, as long as he could continue living, even if he did not do anything, he could become the richest existence in the endless heavens. At the thought of this, Zhou could not help but gasp. He looked at the number 1 treasure vault in his hand, his eyes shining. This is my first treasure vault. The longer I have it, the more shocking the effect will be. You're the real late-stage Lord talent, Zhou exclaimed. It was so even now. When it became a Supreme God Realm Lord talent, wouldn't it be able to give birth to a Supreme God Realm treasure? What? Then, even willpower level experts would probably go and snatch this first treasure vault? He thought to himself. With this in mind, he immediately decided that this Lord talent had to be upgraded to the Supreme God Realm Lord talent. After improving, the gains would definitely not disappoint him after all. At this moment, a god spirit guarding the door walked over. Reporting to your majesty. Your excellency Time Divine Dragon is back. He said respectfully. Let him in. Zhou said. Yes, your majesty. The god spirit guarding the door said respectfully. Then he left. Soon the Time Divine Dragon Kyoto walked in. At the same time, he was accompanied by a true god tier advanced grade monster demon. It was the master of the Kidok Divine Kingdom, the legitimate son of monster demon Emperor King Kidotali, Kidok. As for the Lord of the Divine Kingdom, his eyes widened as soon as he entered, as if he had seen a ghost. He looked at Zhou in disbelief. Father! Father! He was dumbfounded. Zhou glanced at him indifferently. Boom! Kidok felt as if a hammer had struck his soul heavily. He immediately felt dizzy. At this moment, a faint but dignified voice sounded in his heart. Look carefully before you speak. Greetings, Your Excellency Common People's Regal. Greetings, Emperor. Kidok endured the pain in his soul and said respectfully to Zhou. He had just secretly glanced at Zhou again and already knew what was going on. His father, Kidotali, had been killed by the other party. This time, his death was different from before. The other party had even taken away the most important source of negative energy for the monster demon emperor king, the heart of Kitotali. That was the race divine artifact of the monster demons. Whoever obtained this race's divine artifact would directly become the emperor of the monster demon race. Now that Zhou had obtained it, he naturally became the emperor of the new monster demon race. As for his original king father, Kitotali, even though he would not really die because of the undying characteristics of the monster demons, after he was reincarnated, he would naturally not have the identity of the monster demon emperor king. At most, he would retain his strength when he was alive and become a top true god tier of the normal monster demons. From now on, Kitotali's era was over. The monster demon emperor king, who ruled the monster demon clan, was the common people's regal. After Zhou heard Kidok's words, he didn't say anything. Instead, he looked at Kyoto beside him. His gaze was very obvious. Why did you keep him? Just kill him. Your Majesty, one just received a revelation from fate. Keeping this monster demon will be of some use to your Majesty. So I made the decision to keep he and bring him to your Majesty. If your Majesty thinks that this fellow is useless, one will immediately deal with him, Kyoto said respectfully. Is this guy useful to me? Zhou was surprised and looked at Kidok again in surprise. What use could this guy be to me? Suddenly, he thought of something and looked at Kidok again. He flipped his right hand, and the monster demon emperor king bloodline of master god tier advanced grade appeared in his hand. As soon as Kidok saw the monster demon emperor king bloodline in Zhou's hand, he could not move his gaze away. He stared straight at the monster demon emperor king bloodline in Zhou's hand, as if it was very attractive to Kidok. You want it? Zhou smiled faintly. I want it. Kidok hesitated for a moment before telling the truth. It's not impossible to give it to you, but you have to make some contributions to make this emperor feel that you have the right to obtain this monster demon emperor king bloodline. Zhou said calmly. Kidok fell silent and thought hard. After a while, Kidok's eyes suddenly lit up. He hurriedly said to Zhou, Your Excellency Regal, there are 4 other monster demon god kingdoms around our Kidok divine kingdom. They are the Red Monster Demon God Kingdom, the Bermula Monster Demon God Kingdom, the Pigumen Monster Demon God Kingdom, and the Zareb Monster Demon God Kingdom. I can go to them and help His Majesty Insight surrender them. This way, His Majesty can obtain the forces of the 4 Monster Demon God Kingdoms without any effort. Are you that confident? Zhou looked at him with interest. If it was in the past, I really wouldn't be so sure. But don't I still have you, Your Excellency? Your Excellency is now the Emperor of our monster demon race. As the monster demon Emperor King, you still have a lot of deterrence in our monster demon race. Most of the monster demons in our monster demon race have a natural sense of respect for our monster demon Emperor King. I only need to use Your Majesty's name and the direct bloodline of the previous generations. Monarch of the Monster Demon God Kingdom. Unless they want to rebel, there's a high chance that the 4 monarchs of the Monster Demon God Kingdom will surrender to Your Majesty. Kidok said respectfully. Zhou nodded. According to the inheritance of the monster demons in his mind, the monster demons indeed had a natural sense of reverence for the monster demon Emperor King. As the owner of the heart of Kitotali, the origins of countless monster demons in the myriad worlds were almost all in the Kitotali heart after all. Every time they died, they would be reborn in the Kitotali heart until they were born in the myriad worlds again. For the monster demons, the monster demon Emperor King, who had the heart of Kitotali, was almost equivalent to their mother. This was also the reason why the monster demon Emperor King was respected. You can try. If you can really do it, this bloodline of the monster demon Emperor King is yours. Zhou finally agreed, because he felt that if this monster demon Emperor King bloodline was used on Kidok, it might bring him some surprises. He had asked him to instigate the 4 forces of the monster demon god kingdom to join Insight defection, because he wanted to find a reason to give the monster demon Emperor King's bloodline to them. Thank you, Your Majesty. Kidok's eyes flashed with excitement as he immediately said respectfully. However, you have to join our Blazing Sun Empire before that. Zhou said. Kid Doc was already prepared when he heard this. He immediately knelt down and said that he wanted to join the Blazing Sun Empire and become a subject of the Blazing Sun Empire. Anyway, this person was already the monster demon emperor king and could be considered one of them. What was so embarrassing about working under his race's emperor? Zhou nodded and waved his hand. Kid Doc understood and left. Zhou thought about it and felt that it might not be safe for Kid Doc to go alone. So he called over another soldier and asked him to order Kid Doc to bring a few spellcasters and a few lords of the Star Alliance when he went to the 4 monster demon god kingdoms. Spellcaster specialized in insight defection and was lucky to encounter a monster demon godlord who was not very smart. He might be able to use his glib tongue to trick the other party's entire divine kingdom over. He was not afraid even if he was unlucky and even aroused the other party's killing intent. He would directly let the lords of the Star Alliance instigate insight defection in the monster demon god kingdom that wanted to attack once and let them fight internally. This way, they could also save Kid Doc and the others' lives. With these 2 guarantees, Kid Doc's trip should be much more stable. Your Excellency Kyoto, you really brought me a pleasant surprise. After Zhou made all the arrangements, he turned to look at Kyoto and smiled. Actually, I suddenly had an omen in my heart. I thought that rather than killing this fellow, why don't I leave him alive to serve your majesty and squeeze him dry of his value? Perhaps this would be better for his majesty's benefits. So I took the initiative to bring him to his majesty. I hope your majesty can atone for your sins. Kyoto said respectfully. Your Excellency, you're too kind. Zhou waved his hands. Then, they chatted for a while more before Kyoto left. After Kyoto left, Zhou called Ji Yuan over and began to discuss the next attack. Because Kid Doc had gone to insight defection on his own, Zhou did not focus his attack on the 4 monster demon god kingdoms. Therefore, after discussing with Ji Yuan, he decided to return to the Blazing Sun Empire and continue expanding the territory around it. While the generals did not believe that Kid Doc was so capable as to bring back 4 monster demon god kingdoms, they did not object. They listened to his orders and directly led their troops back to the Blazing Sun Empire through the cross-border teleportation array of the Behemoth Divine Kingdom. Then, they continued to expand the surrounding territories of the Blazing Sun Empire. Zhou also made a trip. However, after using up his 10,000 Spirit Saint, he directly handed the military authority to Ji Yuan and returned. As the main body, even though his strength was enough to dominate the high continent, he had already developed a habit, so he did not plan to continue following the army into battle. In any case, with his current teleportation ability, he could teleport to the army. Even if something happened, he could provide support in time. Therefore, he was not worried that something would happen to the army without him. However, he quickly thought of something else. Currently, I'm in charge of cultivating in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace. Zhou Manage is handling government affairs in the country. Zhou Fight and Zhou Marshal are fighting the activities of the Lord of the Race on the Cerulean planet. Zhou Tianming is doing a mission in the Myriad Worlds. If I don't follow the army to battle, even though I can teleport over at any time, this might interrupt my comprehension. Zhou pondered for a long time before muttering to himself, let's create another clone. Thinking of this, Zhou immediately used his talent, doppelganger technique, to create another clone. Soon, his 5th clone appeared in front of him. Zhou sensed the depletion of the origin in his body as he looked at the 5th clone in front of him with a calm expression. Greetings, main body. The 5th clone smiled. Zhou signaled and said, your name is Zhou Win. Immediately assist the army to attack the territories of the people of foreign races around our country. Okay. Zhou Win nodded and turned to leave without hesitation. When Zhou saw this, he swallowed a few true God-tier divine medicines to replenish his origin, while his divine sense clone entered the world of reincarnation to comprehend the Lord's laws. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, night fell. In the Blazing Sun imperial capital, in the imperial palace. Zhou was dealing with government affairs. In the past 2 days, the territory of the Blazing Sun Empire had expanded rapidly, and because of this, many problems had arisen in the country. Most of the problems were caused by the different customs of the subjects. Over the past few days, Zhou had been promulgating various policies for such matters to let the various races seek common ground and live in harmony. Therefore, even though Zhou did not appear often in war, he was actually the busiest of all Zhou's clones. At this moment, an imperial palace guard quickly walked over and said respectfully, "Reporting to your majesty, Bizarre Demon God Nation Master, Kiddock requests an audience. Let him in." Zhou wrote his opinion on the virtual memorial and uttered calmly, "Yes, your majesty." The guard retreated respectfully. Soon, Kiddock walked over. "Reporting to your majesty," Kiddock said respectfully with an irrepressible smugness in his voice. "I've already convinced the 4 monster demon god kingdoms to join our Blazing Sun Empire." A look of surprise flashed across Zhou's eyes. His will spread out silently and fused into Kiddock's soul almost instantly. He began to look via Kiddock's memories. Now, his willpower realm was infinitely approaching the second realm of willpower, the soul formation realm. This realm was usually only possible for Supreme God realm experts. Therefore, via the power of will in this realm, it was naturally simple to read the memories of a true God tier advanced grade. After flipping via it, Zhou understood. However, he was additionally a little surprised. He had underestimated the prestige of the Monster Demon Emperor King among the monster demons. Zhou flipped through Kiddock's memories and learned that after Kiddock went to the Monster Demon God Kingdoms to incite their surrender, the Monster Demon God Lords of the 4 Monster Demon God Kingdoms heard that the existence of incite surrender was the Monster Demon Emperor and Queen of their race. They immediately agreed without any hesitation. Then they brought their divine kingdoms to join the Blazing Sun Empire that had joined Zhou. The spellcaster and Star Alliance master that he had prepared for Kiddock were actually useless. The Monster Demon Emperor King's prestige was so terrifying. Zhou was surprised. Below the stage, Kiddock was still advocating the attack he had done by inciting their surrenders this time. He made himself sound like a decisive and brave hero. Zhou could not be bothered to expose the other party's bragging. Even though the Monster Demon Emperor King's reputation played a decisive role in this trip, the other party was more or less useful. At this moment, Kiddock finally finished bragging about his credit and said respectfully, "Reporting to your majesty, the 4 god lords of the Monster Demon God Kingdom want to see your majesty." "Does your majesty want to see them? Let them come and see me." Zhou nodded. What did that mean? They were 4 divine kingdom god lords, existences standing at the peak of the myriad worlds after all. How could he not see them and not give them face if such an existence wanted to bring their divine kingdom to join his Blazing Sun Empire? He had to give them face. Kiddock acknowledged respectfully and left the hall to find the 4 divine kingdom divine lords. Soon, the 4 god lords of the Monster Demon God Kingdom came over. Zhou glanced at the 4 Monster Demon God Lords. The 2 god lords of the Monster Demon God Kingdom had the strength of a true God tier intermediate grade, while the other 2 god lords of the Monster Demon God Kingdom had the strength true God tier advanced grade. As for the Divine Kingdom Lord factions they controlled, they were all beginner-level Divine Kingdom Lord factions. They were not even comparable to Kiddock, the direct descendant of the Monster Demon Emperor King. The moment the 4 god lords of the Monster Demon God Kingdom saw Zhou, they immediately confirmed that the existence in front of them in the human skin was the Monster Demon Emperor King they had been thinking about day and night. "Your Majesty, I've finally seen you. Your Majesty, we've suffered a lot in your absence." "That's right, Your Majesty. Ever since you were killed by many Master God tier, the situation of the monster demons has been getting worse and worse. Even though those who are hostile to us didn't kill us, they tried their best to suppress us and make our lives worse. As emissaries of destruction and fear, we haven't spread fear and destruction to a large scale in the myriad worlds for many years. Even if we secretly spread it, we can only spread it on a small scale. We don't dare to spread it on a large scale at all. afraid of attracting the attention of those guys. Now the king is back, and our sky is back. We can spread fear and destruction in the myriad worlds at will. The four divine kingdom lords first complained to Zhou with tears in their eyes. Then, their expressions changed as they excitedly discussed which worlds to spread fear and destruction to and which enemies to counterattack. They did not notice Zhou's reaction at all and were discussing it happily. Zhou was speechless. If others saw this scene and did not know the inside story, they would probably think that I am the head of the villain, right? That's not right. As the emperor of the monster demons, I am now a real villain. Could a messenger of light from some planet suddenly appear and attack him to uphold the justice of the myriad worlds? Zhou complained in his heart. Shut up. Zhou, who could not stand the content of their discussion, finally could not help but speak coldly. The four monster demon godlords were stunned. They looked at Zhou obediently, as if they did not know that they had said something wrong. In fact, from their standpoint of survival, spreading fear and destruction to the myriad worlds was a normal activity that was indispensable for them, just like how humans wanted to eat and sheep wanted to eat grass. However, as a normal life form, Zhou had his own stand. In order to protect his position and the survival of his race, he could only do wrong to the monster demons. However, he couldn't directly wrong the other party. He wanted to power harass them. Look at you guys. Zhou snorted coldly and said, spreading fear and destruction to ordinary life-form civilizations. Even if you do it, how much fear feedback will you obtain? A group of living beings with lives like grass. No matter how much fear they contribute, they're only low-end ingredients to us. Don't you want to try high-end ingredients? High-end ingredients? Kidok was stunned. The four monster demon god lords looked at each other. Then, the red demon god lord carefully said, What do you mean, your majesty? This emperor intends to rebel against those top bloodline races. When the war begins, spread the fear of the monster demons to those top bloodline races. This emperor thinks that you should know how delicious the fear emitted by those true experts will be. Right? Zhou smiled faintly. Kidok and the four god lords of the monster demon god kingdom were almost drooling. Of course, they knew the deliciousness emitted by those experts with top bloodlines. It was a delicacy that one would never forget for the rest of one's life as long as one tasted it once. Kidok and the other monster godlords had tasted this delicacy a few times when the monster demons were at their peak, and they could not forget it even now. However, ever since Monster Demon Emperor King Kidotali died, they had never tasted such delicious food. They could only create destruction from ordinary life forms and taste the low-end delicacies emanating from them. The taste was far inferior. After a long time, these monster demon god lords recovered from their fantasies. Then, the monster demon god lord, Bermula, hesitated and said, The delicacy emitted by a powerhouse is indeed far from the delicacy of ordinary life forms. However, we can't afford to offend those experts either. They all have the protection of their race behind them. If we kill one, 10 stronger experts will come out to counterattack us. The other monster demon god lords also nodded in understanding. They had also had designs on those powerful races back then, yet later on, they were beaten up badly. You don't need to bother about this, Zhou said deeply. Since this emperor is now the monster demon emperor king, my soldiers would help you in spreading intimidation. From now on, order all the monster demons of the monster demon race not to harass ordinary life form civilizations. If you want to spread fear, follow this emperor and spread fear to the original spirit race, the chaos gods race, the shepherd's god race, the titan god race, and other top bloodline races. That's true ability. Monster demons who only dare to bully weak civilizations. Don't blame this emperor for looking down on you. As the monster demon emperor king, Zhou's words and actions were like holy words. His tone was already extremely serious. As long as this news spread, they would basically listen to his orders obediently unless any monster demon did not want to stay in the monster demon race anymore. When Kidok and the other monster demon god lords heard Zhou's words, Their expressions immediately turned solemn as they said respectfully in unison, "We'll heed your instructions." They were also a little excited. This new Monster Demon Emperor King was much bolder than the previous Monster Demon Emperor King. As monster demons, they naturally preferred such an emperor. Zhou nodded. In fact, he had asked these monster demons to attack the high-level bloodline races of the original spirit race not only because he wanted to become the lord of all races, but also because the birth of monster demons was not caused by those weak ordinary life forms, but mainly by those powerful life forms who had the power to destroy the world. It was precisely because those powerful life forms casually used their terrifying power that caused the tragedy of living beings in countless worlds that the negative energy in the myriad worlds increased and stacked at an astonishing speed. As a result, the negative energy accumulated more and more, and the monster demons were endless. Even the monster demons became stronger and stronger. Those high-level bloodline races did not reflect on their actions. Instead, they used violence to suppress the monster demons and brainwashed the weak races to restrain the weak supernatural power they mastered to restrain the birth and become stronger. As the life form of the race that controlled the strongest power, they were still unscrupulous when using extraordinary power and the power of the god spirits. They could use them however they wanted, saving the weak and suffering, destroying and wasting the benefits of the strong. This was the most obvious comparison between the strong and weak races in the myriad worlds. This was also the reason why many weak races hated those high-level bloodline races. However, they could not resist this situation even if they wanted to because they did not have enough power and was restricted by the higher races. As a result, the weak became even weaker, and the strong became more extravagant. Therefore, when Zhou, the top lord of the human race, appeared, they were so excited because they saw their race turn around and resist the future of those powerful races. At this moment, Zhou passed an order. In the next period of time, this emperor will instruct you to do something. That is to announce the emperor's existence to all the monster demons in the high continent and order them to submit to me. This emperor wants to unify all the monster demons in the high continent. Those who disobey will be the enemies of the monster demons. Will chase them away. In addition, this emperor will strip away the resurrection rights of those monster demons who are unwilling to submit. Kid Doc and the other 5 strange demon god lords shivered in unison. Then, they said respectfully in unison, "Yes, your majesty." Once this order was given, most likely every single one of the monster demons would have to obey. There was no choice. Becoming enemies with all monster demons and getting chased away was too ruthless. There would basically be no place for them on the high continent if any of them were to receive this punishment. When the time comes, the life forms outside would not accept them, nor would the monster demon clan. Moreover, they would lose the right to resurrection in the heart of Kidotali, which basically meant a death sentence. Who would dare to resist this order? Zhou nodded his head with a light smile when he saw how respectful they were. It was too useful to blame the monster demon's natural revered status. He could actually make the other party so obedient. Zhou estimated that even if he did not have the Lord talent and other methods to increase loyalty like the peaceful times, just the identity of the monster demon emperor king was enough to make these monster demon godlords listen to his orders wholeheartedly. In addition, gathering the monster demons of the high continent was only the first step in his plan. If the monster demon clan becomes strong again, they would be a pretty good source of combat power. When the time was right, he would gather all the monster demons everywhere to become a sharp blade in his hand against those top-grade bloodlines. Do this as soon as possible. This emperor will send a Cosmos Emperor to you and let you gather the monster demons on the high continent as soon as possible. Light's novel This Emperor will give you a maximum of 10 days. This emperor wants to see a united monster demon race. After 10 days, Zhou said calmly, "Yes, your majesty." Kid Doc and the other 5 monster demon god lords immediately felt a sense of urgency. Gathering all the monster demons in the high continent in 10 days? This was too short. They were worried, but they did not dare to disobey the first order of this new monster demon emperor king. They could only rack their brains to think of a way while listening respectfully. Zhou could tell what they were thinking from their expressions. However, he didn't explain. After they saw the speed of Cosmos Emperor, they would naturally know that 10 days was not short. Then, Zhou chatted with them for a while before he let the 4 monster demon godlords leave. Only Kidok was left in the hall. Zhou saw Kidok's expectant expression and did not say much. He directly threw a portion of the monster demon Emperor King's bloodline to him. "Thank you, Your Majesty." Kidok was overjoyed when he saw the monster demon Emperor King's bloodline in front of him. As the legitimate offspring of the previous monster demon Emperor King, Kidotali, he had the bloodline of a master god tier elementary grade. That was why he had the strength of true god tier advanced grade. However, at this level, he felt that it was increasingly difficult to make another breakthrough. This was a breakthrough of a major realm after all. He still needed to reach the will-like light realm to officially advance. He had enough potential and had accumulated enough promotion energy. What he lacked was a breakthrough in the willpower realm. However, he was still unable to break through this hurdle. Now that he had the monster demon Emperor King's bloodline, he was confident that he could raise his potential from an elementary grade to an advanced grade master god tier. At that time, with the potential and comprehension of an advanced grade master god tier, as well as the inheritance of the monster demon Emperor King in the lineage of the monster demon Emperor King, he was confident that he could comprehend the will-like light realm within 1,000 years and officially become a master god tier. At the thought of this, he looked at the black-purple heart in his hand, his eyes burning. At this moment, Zhou's voice sounded in his heart. "Since I've already obtained the bloodline, then take it immediately. Let me observe how much you, the legitimate son of Kidotali, can improve after using the lineage of the monster demon Emperor King." Kidok looked at Zhou in a daze, then looked around awkwardly. Here? He wanted to go back and find a quiet place to absorb the monster demon Emperor King's bloodline. However, the Emperor's order would be able to not be refused, so Kidok could only nod and agree. In any case, it was just absorbing a lineage of the same origin. There shouldn't be any problems. He no longer hesitated. He held the black-purple heart and approached his heart. The next second, the black-purple heart turned into countless black-purple light spots and rushed into Kidok's heart. At first, Kidok looked pleasantly surprised and relaxed before his expression suddenly changed. "Ah!" He roared at the sky in pain and fell to the ground, rolling around in pain. Zhou watched the scene coldly, as if he had expected it. "Your Majesty, save me." Kidok widened his eyes and reached out his trembling hand to Zhou, as if Zhou was his last life-saving straw. Zhou looked at Kidok calmly. After a long time, he nodded. Kidok immediately revealed a relieved smile when he saw this. It was as if he was very assured of Zhou's promise and did not resist at all. It was not that he did not resist. It was mainly because Kidok knew that he could not resist. In that case, he might as well give up. In any case, His Majesty would save him later. Kidok, who had given up resisting, quickly lost consciousness and lay quietly on the ground. A moment later, Kidok suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were blood-red and tyrannical. They were filled with an endless desire to destroy, as if he wanted to spread fear in the name of him to the world. He instantly disappeared and appeared in front of Zhou again. However, the current him had actually changed into a black robe and looked mysterious and dignified. "Welcome back, Your Excellency Kidotali." Zhou smiled faintly. That's right. The person standing in front of Zhou was no longer Kidok, but his king father, the previous monster demon Emperor King, Kidotali. Kidotali looked at Zhou with a complicated expression. After a long while, he knelt on one knee and respectfully said, "Kidotali greets my king." Having lost the heart of Kidotali, he naturally understood that he was no longer the monster demon Emperor King of the past, but an ordinary monster demon true god tier who occupied the body of his descendants' bloodline. He even lost his master god tier strength. "Your Excellency Kidotali, How about joining this emperor's empire? Jojo said. I will do my best, Kitotali said without hesitation. No matter what grudge he had with Jojo, as long as the heart of Kitotali was in Jojo's hands, he and the entire monster demon race would fight for Jojo. This was something that the entire monster demon race would not hesitate to do. No, it should not be called the heart of Kitotali now. It should be called the heart of the monster demon emperor king. Once he obtained it, he would undoubtedly become the monster demon emperor king. Jojo nodded slightly. He clicked his tongue in wonder. This monster demon emperor king's heart was really useful. Then, he recalled something and waved his right hand. A divine master token flew out of Kitotali's body and landed in front of Jojo. He looked at the master god's token. This master god's token was Kitak's identity symbol. Even though the materials used to make it were relatively rare, it was actually useless. Could only be used as Kitak's relic now. He threw the Divine Lord token into the air and then used the Great Resurrection spell. Emerald green light quickly spread out with the Divine Master token as the center. Soon, a confused monster demon appeared in the sky above the hall. It was Kiddock. Kiddock, who had just been resurrected, was still a little confused. However, when Phi saw Jojo, who was looking at him with a faint smile, and Kitotali, who looked calm and even a little indifferent, he instantly recalled all his memories. Thank you, Your Majesty, for reviving me. Kiddock looked at Jojo gratefully. This emperor will do what I promised, Jojo said calmly. Kiddock nodded hard and looked at Kitotali. He remembered that the other party had taken over his divine body and could not help but grit his teeth. My good king father, Kiddock gritted his teeth, his eyes burning with anger. He originally thought that it was his fortuitous opportunity, but he did not expect it to take his life. Furthermore, it was his father who took his life. This was quite explosive among the monster demons. How dare you look at me like that? Kitotali glanced at him indifferently. Kiddock lowered his head unwillingly. Kitotali, Jojo said, you're now a true god-tier advanced grade. When can you recover to your former peak strength? Your Majesty. Kitotali's indifferent expression suddenly became very respectful. With the heart of the monster demon emperor king providing me with endless negative energy, as long as you give me enough divine power to recover resources, one can recover my strength as master god-tier advanced grade in 2 days. In 7 days, I can recover my master god-tier intermediate grade strength. In a month, one can recover my peak strength as master god-tier advanced grade. Jojo nodded in satisfaction. As expected of the monster demon emperor king of the previous generation, the speed at which he recovered his strength was far from what the Blood Moon Sun could compare to. Tell this emperor the divine power recovery resources you need, Jojo said. Thank you, Your Majesty. Kitotali thanked him and then told him the divine power recovery resources he needed one by one. Jojo memorized them one by one. After Kitotali finished speaking, he took them out of his first treasure vault and gave them to him. Open a random seclusion place in this emperor's divine kingdom world and recover your strength, he said. Yes, Your Majesty. Kitotali did not hesitate at all. After receiving the divine power recovery resources, he immediately turned around and left. When Jojo saw this, his gaze landed on Kiddock, who had a complicated expression. Don't think too much. Whatever your father does doesn't matter anymore. Anyway, you're still alive now. You got what you wanted. If you have the time to be conflicted, why don't you think about how to subdue all the monster demons in the Supreme Continent? He asked. Your Majesty is right. Kiddock took a look at the words potential, that he had become a master god-tier advanced grade. He exhaled and said respectfully, His Majesty was right. He had indeed not lost anything. Instead, he had benefited a lot. There was indeed no need to be conflicted. At this moment, he thought of something and hurriedly said respectfully, Your Majesty, when my father, Your Excellency Kitotali recovers his strength, can you let him subdue the monster demons on the high continent with me? With him around, The speed at which we subdue the monster demons will definitely be much faster. Sure. Zhou agreed without hesitation. He currently had 5 clones, and each clone could unleash the combat power of a Master God tier. He did not care if he had a Master God tier combat power like Kidotali beside him. "Thank you, Your Majesty." Kid Doc hurriedly thanked him. Then, he didn't say anything else and left. Not long after he left, Zero sent Zhou the list of today's war. Zhou looked at it. In the entire day, the High Continent and Cerulean Planet had eliminated a total of more than 1.8 trillion enemies, 31,000 god spirits, and more than 100 true god tier. The reason why the number of enemies they eliminated suddenly decreased so much was mainly because they did not kill many enemies in the High Continent. Most of them surrendered without even thinking of resisting when they saw the Blazing Sun Empire coming. Especially the 5 monster demon god kingdoms. He took them all down almost effortlessly. It was also because of this that among the enemies eliminated today, other than a small number that Zhou Wen led the army to expand the Blazing Sun Empire's territory, most of the other enemies were eliminated by the Cerulean Planet. It was worth mentioning that today was the 3rd day of the first stage of the Lord of the Races activity. At noon, Baiyun led the Eternal Mothership to the location of the Cerulean Planet. With the help of a large number of reinforcements from the Eternal Mothership, Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu had killed so many enemies today. Otherwise, they would have killed even fewer. After killing so many enemies, he obtained trillions of mist cores, origin crystals, skill books, equipment, basic materials, basic gem resources, lightning, life, and death elemental gems. 1,811,021,125 green bronze tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments, 102 Legendary tier and below Scarlet Lord Talent Spheres, and a large number of other Lord Talent Crystal Fragments. Time Elemental Gem resources were more than 6,213 million units. Space Elemental Gems were more than 6,563 million units. More than 21.365 billion units of Divine Crystals from the low-tier deity level to the high-tier deity level. 31,120 true God-tier Divine Crystals. More than 632 million low-level to high-tier deity-level Divine Artifacts. 6,800 true God-tier Divine Artifacts. 8 Master God-tier Divine Artifacts. There were a total of more than 80 million Divine Spark Fragments, God-tier Medicinal Herbs, God-tier Ingredients, God-tier Ores, God-tier Blueprints, and other treasures. 65,805 Master God-tier level God-tier Herbs, God-tier Ingredients, God-tier Ores, God-tier Blueprints, and other treasures. Zhou's gaze landed on the 12.776 billion spacetime elemental gem. He actually obtained so many time and space elemental gems? Zhou was a little surprised. He opened it and took a look before understanding. It turned out that so many spacetime elemental gems were provided by Kid Doc and the other godlords of the monster demon god kingdom. The monster demons did not value the development of civilization. Therefore, the spacetime elemental gems, a series of other gems, and various items and resources to build the divine kingdom that they had plundered from the war had almost never been used. Now that they had joined the Blazing Sun Empire, these things were all given to Zhou. There's actually such a benefit in attacking the monster demons. Zhou looked a little surprised. He did not even think of that. Then, he laughed. This was really a pleasant surprise. I already have 13,221,000,000 time and space elemental gems. I'm only more than 6 billion spacetime elemental gems away from the 20 billion spacetime elemental gems needed to upgrade. In at most 2 days, no, maybe a day, I'll be able to gather the requirements to upgrade my territory and raise it to the high-tier deity level elementary grade. Zhou thought. Then, he looked at the list of insight defections and god spirits. In the entire day, he and the 312 lords of the Star Alliance under him had a total of 3,120,012.6 million soldiers of the people of foreign races, 15,450 god spirits of the people of foreign races, and 78 true god tiers. In addition, in the army under him, 10,600 legendary tier soldiers had advanced from legendary tier advanced grade to low-tier deity level elementary grade, and 19 high-tier deity level advanced grade god spirits had advanced to true god tier elementary grade god spirits. Zhou original military strength was 1,628,674,691,472,446 soldiers, 3,576,671 god spirits, and 1,713 true gods. The number of soldiers under him had already reached 1,634,595,903,825,649 soldiers. In terms of the number of god spirits, there were 3,599,803 god spirits and 1,847 true gods. Zhou looked at the insight defection list and shook his head with a smile. The reason why the insight defection had so few troops was because the Lord factions that they had instigated today were mostly Empire tier Lord factions. Ordinary Empire tier Lord factions usually had between 1 billion to 100 billion troops. There were only 312 in total for the Star Alliance Masters under him. According to the legendary tier insight defection, a 40% insight defection rate was at most 3 to 4 trillion. The difference between legendary tier insight defection and mythical tier 10,000 Spirit Saint is too great. The 10,000 Spirit Saint can instigate an insight defection on the entire enemy faction. As for legendary tier and below insight defection, they can only incite a single Lord faction in the entire enemy. In the face of a trillion terabyte enemy, a 10,000 Spirit Saint can induce an insight defection to 4 to 5 trillion. As for the Star Alliance Master who has grasped the legendary tier insight defection, he can only designate one of the Lord factions first and then instigate 40% of the troops in the insight defection. After 2 reductions, it's already not bad if he can instigate 400 to 500 billion. The difference is about 10,000 times. Zhou sighed. He felt that configuring legendary tier insight defection for the Lords of the Star Alliance did not seem to help them improve much. Should he change all of them to legendary tier blessing of the War God? Zhou thought. However, he felt that the difference was not big. He thought about it and found it a little difficult to choose. In the end, he simply opened the Star Alliance Master Group chat and asked for everyone's opinion. What surprised him was that all the Star Alliance Masters were very determined to continue using legendary tier insight defection. This was because as Lords they liked having more troops. Moreover, the more the better. As for the quality of the individual soldiers, would it be dangerous if they were weak? They were all fighting alongside His Majesty, so why should they worry about safety? Seeing this, Zhou did not change their Lord talent. Then, he brought up the situation on Zhou Fight's side. For the entire day, Zhou Fight led the soldiers to expand in the morning and conquered a total of 2 true God tier Lord factions, the Empire tier Lord faction protected by the True God, and a total of 107 Lord factions of the Lord of all races. He obtained a total of 210,700,000 hegemony points and 107,800 obscure Lord shop points. At noon, the Eternal Mothership led an army of more than 500 trillion troops, more than 1 million God spirits, and more than 700 true God tiers to descend. With so many troops and the help of God spirits, the efficiency of Zhou Fight and the others' expansion increased by 100 times. In just an afternoon, they had conquered the 3 surrounding Divine Kingdom Lord factions, more than 160 Empire tier Lord factions, and a total of 1,031 Lord factions of the myriad races. He obtained a total of 19,319,150,000 hegemony points and 1,025,000 obscure Lord shop points. Previously, Zhou had a total of 1,126,320 hegemony points and 456,900 obscure Lord shop points. Now, including the hegemony points and obscure Lord shop points obtained from these 2 rounds of battle, Zhou now had a total of 20,615,652,000 hegemony points and 1,589,700 obscure Lord shop points. Zhou nodded slightly when he saw this number. With so many hegemony points and obscure lordship points, he should be able to occupy 100 million points of advantage in the following activities, right? Then, he checked the statistical table that Zheng Yuanqi had just sent over regarding yesterday's Supreme Conquest effect. New subject: non-professionals, professionals, heroes, god spirits, true god tier, statistics. Non-professional subjects: 81 quadrillion, 252 trillion 54 billion, 850 million. Professionals: life plus battle 3 quadrillion 598 trillion 20 billion 780 million 980,000. Heroes: 1,308,500. God spirits: low god plus mid-tier deity level plus high-tier deity level 351,545. True god tier: 25 true god tier elementary grade god spirits, 10 true god tier intermediate grade god spirits, 2 true god tier advanced grade god spirits. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. The effect of the Supreme Conquest was still very powerful. Zhou thought about it and decided to place these professionals and god spirits in the Homeland Defense Army to protect the Blazing Sun Empire's territory. As for the main combat army, they did not lack these soldiers and god spirits for the time being, so there was no need to add more soldiers and god spirits into it for the time being. The Blazing Sun Empire was the foundation after all. If there was a mistake in the basics, it would be useless no matter how many glorious battle achievements he had obtained outside. In the following period of time, Zhou and Zhou Shang comprehended the Lord's Law in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace at the same time. The former comprehended the Lord Law itself, while the latter specialized in studying Lord Law skills. If the two of them comprehended it together, the efficiency would double. The next day, at 4 o'clock in the morning, in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace, Zhou opened his eyes and saw the projection of the Universal Sky Tablet. He and Zhou Win, who had woken up at the same time, looked at each other and smiled. The effect of this Universal Sky Tablet is really not bad. Zhou Win said. That's right. Zhou nodded in agreement. It's almost equivalent to a small supreme domain. He had become a god spirit through the extremely shocking reign of laws in the supreme domain, established his divine kingdom, and even comprehended his second lord's law skill myriad methods star palm. Now, he had used a small supreme domain to describe the Universal Sky Tablet. It could be seen how helpful this thing was in comprehending laws. I already have the feeling of the third lord's law skill. I can comprehend the third lord's law skill in no more than 3 days. Zhou Win said. Zhou nodded. Then, the two of them conversed for a while more before Zhou Win got up and went to the army. Zhou also went straight to Mugu and obtained the soldier-type recruitment books and the spoils of war from Wu Xian, who had already finished his battle in the Scarlet Broodmother. Then, he and Wu Xian split up and arrived at the Gate of Summoning. He spent 100 mid-tier deity-level divine crystals to summon 512 trillion new recruits. Then, he spent another 100 mid-tier deity-level divine crystals to summon today's new subjects. A total of 30,134,652 new subjects were summoned. Among them were 11 mid-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits, 5 low-tier god spirits, and 1 high-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirit. As usual, Zhou integrated all the professionals and god spirits of the subjects summoned from these gates of summoning into the Homeland Defense Army. Then, Zhou summoned the 666,666,666 pure-blooded dragons in the original Dragon Abyss again. Unfortunately, he did not summon the legendary dragon race again. However, Zhou was already used to it and did not care at all. It would naturally be best if it came, but his territory was not lacking in such a pure-blooded dragon even if it did not. Including the soldiers on Wu Xian's side who changed their profession, the total military strength under my command has already reached 3,888 trillion, 837.5 billion 95.69 million, 1,689, 3,641,350 god spirits, and 1,944 true god tiers. In another 3 to 5 days, My soldiers will be able to break through 10,000 trillion. Even the Scarlet Army that AUS led to invade the High Continent previously is inferior to me in terms of numbers. Zhou's eyes lit up. Even though he was now inferior to the AUS army in terms of the number of god spirits and true god tier, at least in terms of numbers, he already had more hope of surpassing the other party. He stood rooted to the ground, his emotions surging for a while. Then, he appeased his mood and headed to the Lord's shop. When he arrived at the Lord's shop, Zhou Chengmin was drinking tea at the door. When he saw Zhou, he stood up slowly and smiled. "Greetings, Your Majesty. Are there any goods today? Please don't be goods that I'm not interested in like before. All right?" Zhou said. The goods from the past few days made him not even have the desire to buy them. "Your Majesty, it's not that our goods are bad, but your standards are too high now." Zhou Chengmin smiled bitterly. Zhou waved his hand dismissively. Seeing this, Zhou Chengmin could only take out the goods from under the counter and open them one by one. Zhou looked over and he saw 2 books of the God Spirit, and they could be used by others. The first book of the God Spirit was the Book of Gods of the previous Monster Demon Emperor King, Kidotali, who was a Master God Tier Advanced Grade. The second book of the God Spirit, was the Book of the Gods of the True God Tier Advanced Grade God Behemoth, Collier. As for the third item, it was the Monster Demon Emperor King Bloodline of Master God Tier Advanced Grade. He shook his head after reading them. Frankly speaking, these 3 items were already very top-notch. However, Zhou still felt that it was tasteless and it was a pity to abandon it. Most importantly, he had 2 of the 3 goods. Forget it. I can at least give them to my subordinates. It is not all losses. Zhou reminded himself. How much are these 3 goods? Zhou asked. The Book of the God Spirit by the previous Monster Demon Emperor King, Kidotali, a Master God Tier Advanced Grade, is worth 20 Master God Tier Advanced Grade Divine Crystals. The Book of the God Spirit by the True God Tier Advanced Grade Almighty Behemoth, Collier, is worth 10 True God Tier Advanced Grade Divine Crystals. The Monster Demon Emperor King Bloodline of a Master God Tier Advanced Grade is worth 10 Master God Tier Advanced Grade Divine Crystals. Zhou Chengmin said seriously. Zhou nodded and took out 20 Master God Tier and 10 True God Tier Divine Crystals to buy these 3 items. Then, he turned around and threw them into the military merit exchange system. Bye-bye. Zhou waved at Zhou Chengmin and turned to leave. I really miss His Majesty from back then. Zhou Chengmin looked at Zhou's back and sighed in his heart. Then, he walked back to the shop and continued playing games. At the same time, Kidok was leading the 4 Divine Kingdom Divine Lords to travel the entire Blazing Sun Imperial capital. The matter of subduing the monster demons of the entire High Continent could not be rushed, so he was not in a hurry to do it immediately. Instead, he planned to see what His Majesty's country was like first. After a while, these 4 true God-tier monster demons had browsed through more than half of the entire imperial capital. Rumor has it that the Blazing Sun Empire is a paradise of peace in the High Continent. I didn't believe it at first. How can there be any so-called paradise of peace in the myriad worlds? But now I believe it, Bermula said with emotion. It's indeed a paradise of peace. The monster demon god Lord Red twitched his nose and shook his head. We've walked more than half of the Blazing Sun Imperial capital, but I actually don't smell any negative energy. There will be a lot of negative energy accumulated in the hearts of life forms even in the peaceful country I've seen before. However, there's actually pitifully little negative energy in His Majesty's imperial capital. I don't want to stay here anymore. The monster demon god Lord Pigumen frowned. I feel that if I continue to stay here, my strength and realm will decrease. The hearts of every life form in this place are filled with hope and beauty for the future. Even if we use negative energy law skills, it will probably be very difficult to draw out much negative energy. Ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Kidok also sighed. The monster demons would not want to invade such a country even if such a country was placed in front of them. There was no other reason. It was really tiring and unrewarding. They might even be obliterated. This place is so peaceful and blissful that it doesn't even seem like a country of life forms. Reed sighed. It's simply like heaven in the legends of the God-Spirit religion. Only those believers who believe in pure faith can survive in those heavenly kingdoms. So, they look happy. However, the people living here are all ordinary life forms. This place is like heaven on earth. Unbelievable. It might be related to the war. Bermula was deep in thought. Because of the war in the outside world, the people living here know that it's not easy to come here. So they cherish the peace and happiness here even more. When there's a comparison, life forms will know how precious some things are. The other monster demon godlords nodded. Let's go, let's go. We can't stay here for long. In the future, we have to apply to His Majesty to let us stay in our own divine kingdom. Otherwise, we might just drop dead one day if we stay here for a long time. This place is too terrifying. The few monster demon god lords cursed and left. At the same time, at the Central Emperor Palace, Zhou sat on the throne and quietly waited for the second activity of the Lord of the Race to begin. Under the hall, Bai Yun and the other generals were ready. Zhou called them all back so that they could discuss the countermeasures for the event later in order to prepare for the second stage of the event. A moment later, it was 6 o'clock sharp. The next second, a text notification appeared in front of all the Lord of all races, including Zhou. Attention all lords, the first stage of the activity of the Lord of the Race has officially ended. First of all, congratulations to all the lords who have survived and obtained the title of Lord of the Race of various grades. You have passed the first round of selection for this event. It has proven that you are lords of your own race who can be said to have passable results and are qualified to enter the second stage of the event. In the next second stage of the Lord of the Race's activity, as the representatives of your respective races, you will face more challenging and dangerous new activities for the survival and future of the race behind you. After experiencing these challenges, the lords who can still survive will be one step closer to the position of Lord of all races. May the lords kill your enemies and step on their corpses to reach the end. Those who stand tall after experiencing all kinds of wars are the winners. Now, I'll begin to announce the specific rules of the second activity of the Lord of the Race. The theme of this event is Base Camp. In the territory of your races, a pagoda-style headquarters will appear. The headquarters will protect the gate of summoning of the Lord of all races. The lords of all races will use their respective territories as a defense base. They will set up various defenses around their base camp to defend against the enemy's invasion. Every time you successfully defend against an enemy invasion, you can obtain a certain amount of hegemony points. Those who have spare strength can take the initiative to send troops to invade the surrounding enemies in the starry sky outside of defense. Occupying the base camp of the other lord's territories is equivalent to successfully occupying a local territory and depriving the other party of its lord qualifications and all the hegemony points and obscure lord shop points it has. In addition, occupying the territories of other lord factions will also obtain a large number of hegemony points and a small number of obscure lord shop points. Duration of this event: 10 days. During the duration of the event, the Lord of all races ranking and the obscure Lord Shop function will appear on the Lord function panel of the Lords of all races. The hegemony points obtained by the Lords of all races during the event will determine your specific ranking on the Lord of all races rankings. After the event time ends, the final ranking order of the Lords of all races on the rankings will determine what rewards you will obtain. The higher the ranking, the better the reward. If not, the worse it is. Lords who have not entered the top 1 trillion will not be able to appear on the rankings and will not be able to obtain the rewards of the hegemony rankings. However, if they can survive until the end of the event, they will obtain the participation award. When the second stage of the Lord of the Race event ends, the lords ranked 1,000 to 10,000 will obtain the Basic Base Camp Treasure Chest. The lords ranked 100 to 999 will obtain a Good Base Camp Treasure Chest. The lords ranked 100 to 999 will obtain an Outstanding Base Camp Treasure Chest. The lords ranked 4th to 9th will Obtain the perfect base camp treasure chest. The Lord ranked 3rd will obtain the number 3 base camp treasure chest. The Lord ranked 2nd will obtain the number 2 base camp treasure chest. The Lord ranked 1st will obtain the number 1 base camp treasure chest. The above lords who entered the rankings will unlock the title effect of their respective Lord of the Race after the event ends. During the 2nd stage of the Lord of the Race's event, the resources and personnel of the Lords of the Myriad race can be doubled. 10 days later, the Lord of any race with the title of the Lord of the Race in the 2nd stage will be qualified to enter the 3rd stage of the event, Universe Battlefield. This is the Lord's personal event notification. Lord of the Race Event Tip 1. Your Lord panel has opened a new function, the Lord of All Races competition list. Your current ranking on the list is number 1. Lord of the Race Event Tip 2. Your Lord interface has a new function, Hidden Lord Shop function. You can obtain the shop goods you want by spending the obscure Lord Shop points you obtained. Lord of the Race Event Hint 3. Since your territory is a mid-tier deity level advanced grade territory, you can transfer up to 20 billion Black Iron Tier citizens, / 20 billion units of Black Iron Tier materials, and 2 billion Green Bronze Tier citizens, / 2 billion units Green Bronze Tier supplies, 200 million White Silver Tier citizens, / 200 million units of White Silver Tier supplies, 20 low-tier deity level God spirits, / 20 units of low-tier deity level supplies, 2 mid-tier deity level God spirit, / 2 unit of mid-tier deity level supplies go to Cerulean Planet / Earth every day. Lord of the Race Event Hint 4. As you have obtained the title of the strongest Novice Lord in the Novice Lord test, the subjects and resources you can transfer every day have an additional plus 100%. Lord of the Race Event Hint 5. As you have obtained the title of the strongest Lord of all races during the Myriad Races Lord Battlefield event, the subjects and resources you can transmit every day have an additional plus 100%. Lord of the Race Event Hint 6. As you have obtained the title of the King of 10,000 Kings in the King of 10,000 Kings event, the subjects and resources you can transfer every day have an additional plus 100%. Lord of the Race Event Hint 7. As you are favored by the Supreme Will, the subjects and resources you can transmit every day plus 100%. Lord of the Race Event Tip 8. As you are ranked 1st in the 1st stage of the Lord of the Race event, the subjects and resources you can transfer every day have increased by 500%. Lord of the Race Event Hint 9. Since you are the Scarlet natural enemy, you are naturally hostile to the Lord of Scarlet. The number of fog monsters born around your territory will increase by plus 1000%, and there is a very small probability of attracting the mist sources. Zhou's gaze landed on the content of the new event. After reading it, he fell into deep thought. So this is the base camp? It's a little like the tower defense strategy game I used to play. Protect the base headquarters while carrying out the Insight Defection War, right? He only paid attention to the content at the beginning of the event. As for the rest of the content, he stopped reading it after taking a look. His eternal mothership had already brought over 5 trillion troops, more than 1 million god spirits, more than 700 true god tiers, and countless resources. This extra transmit of supplies and personnel was meaningless to him. At this moment, in the main hall, Bayun seemed to have received some news. After listening for a while, she stood up and stated respectfully, "Your Majesty, just now, a green bronze tier tower suddenly surfaced out of thin air around the gate of summoning on the Cerulean planet. This green bronze tier tower protects the gate of summoning in the center, but it doesn't affect the entry and exit of the people in the gate of summoning for the time being." Zhou nodded. This should be the base camp mentioned in the event. What they had to do next was to protect this base camp from outsiders and protect their race's territory. However, this was only the basic requirement of this event. If he wanted to stand out and enter the Lord of all races rankings or even the first place on the rankings after completing the basic requirements, he would have to make a fuss about going out. He directly copied and activated the content of the event announced by the Supreme Will to the generals and ministers present. Let's take a look and discuss what to do. After the generals and ministers finished reading the content of the event, they discussed in low voices. When Zhou saw this, he took advantage of this time to open the Lord of all Races rankings. The second stage of the Lord of the Races event, Lord of all Races rankings. Number 1. Human Race, Mortal Lord, Hegemony Points, 20,615,652,000 Hegemony Points. Number 2. True Spirit Stars Original Spirit Race, True Lord, Hegemony Points, 615,121,205 Hegemony Points. Number 3. Golden Crow Region Chaos Gods Race, Great One Lord, Hegemony Points, 58,634,100 Hegemony Points. Number 4. Godly King Planet, Shepherd's God Race, Heaven Chasing Lord, Hegemony Points, 436,061,600 Hegemony Points. When Zhou saw this ranking and the hegemony points of top bloodline races like the original Spirit Race, he could not help but narrow his eyes. These guys actually have hundreds of millions of hegemony points? Something is wrong. Normally speaking, even if they were like him and immediately went to conquer the other Lord factions of the myriad races after fighting for the title of the first stage of the Lord of the Race, it was impossible for them to obtain so many hegemony points in 3 days. Having hundreds of millions of hegemony points could only prove one thing. They had gone to attack the Empire Tier Lord faction. Only by conquering an Empire Tier Lord faction could they obtain hundreds of millions of hegemony points at once. However, with their current strength, it was absolutely impossible for them to have the strength to attack an Empire Tier Lord faction. This was not because Zhou was conceited. It was what Zhou had learned after compiling information on many aspects and asking Bodhi Supreme. It seems that the race behind them has helped them. Zhou thought, unsurprised. When Zhou found out that the Supreme Will did not restrict the races behind the Lords of the Races from helping them during this Lord of the Race event, he had expected the current situation. It's a pity. They won't be able to defeat me even with their help. Zhou's expression was calm and confident. Even though the people of foreign races had the main force of the race behind them, so what? He was his greatest backer. Then, he opened the Obscure Lord's shop interface and immediately trembled when he saw the first item in the Obscure Lord's shop interface. There's actually such a thing? Obscure Lord's shop, Day 1, Time-limited open goods, Venus, Universal Race Divine Artifact. Number, unique. The upper limit of the potential of all living beings in the race that possesses this Universal Race Divine Artifact has increased by a large level. The upper limit of the potential increase is a Master God Tier Advanced grade. When undergoing a major realm breakthrough, the probability of breaking through will increase by 10%. Sale price: 2 million Obscure Lord shop points. Note: this item will be taken off the shelves in 3 days. Lords who want to buy it, please buy it before the item is taken off the shelves. It's actually another racial divine artifact that can increase the upper limit of a life form's potential. Moreover, it can increase the probability of successfully breaking through a major realm. Most importantly, it doesn't restrict the use of races. Zhou took a deep breath. There were no restrictions on races, which meant that no matter which race obtained it, they could directly use it. Unlike his Sun Moon Star Sword, only the humans of the Cerulean planet could be affected by its effect. This race divine artifact was a super divine artifact that could increase the upper and lower limits of all living beings of a race. Whether it was a weak race or a powerful race, they would want it crazily. This effect was too ridiculous. I'm afraid the racial factions in the outside world are about to go crazy after seeing this racial divine artifact, right? Zhou thought. However, a look of determination flashed in his eyes. No matter what obstacles he encountered, he had to obtain this race's divine artifact. With a race divine artifact like Venus, coupled with his Xian Yuan divine sword, the potential of the subjects under him could directly increase by 2 levels. This meant that even the Black Iron Tier humans with the worst potential under him would have a chance to advance to the White Silver Tier in the future. Those with Epic Tier potential had a chance of becoming a God Spirit. Even though he had some Lord talents that could allow subjects with limited talent to forcefully break through the potential bottleneck and advance to a higher level through life and death battles and researching life professions. However, this was not as direct as increasing his potential. Zhou felt that it was safer to directly increase his potential. However, I only have more than 1.58 million obscure Lord shop points now. There's still some distance to exchange. He frowned slightly. He had to save up more. Fortunately, even he could not reach this number, so he was not worried that the other Lord of all races could reach it in advance. At the same time, when the many races and factions in the outside world, especially the top races and factions, saw Venus, this universal race divine artifact, just as Zhou had thought, they almost immediately proceeded crazy. Titan Sanctuary, Titan Continent. A vast and dignified voice spread throughout the entire high continent. The Patriarch has ordered, at all costs, obtain the universal race divine artifact, Venus. As long as we obtain this universal race divine artifact, our Titan God race will have a chance of catching up to the original spirit race, the Shepherd's God race, and the Chaos God race. It's only a matter of time before I become a top-notch bloodline race like them. This operation concerns the rise and fall of our race in the future. There can be no mistakes. Yes, sir. Tens of thousands of voices sounded from all over the Titan continent. The owners of these voices were all true God-tier Titan God spirits. In the territory of the original spirit race, the original Master God source also studied about Venus. Venus, the Supreme, will actually took out this racial divine artifact. Looks like the war over there has intensified again. He muttered to himself before a look of determination flashed in his eyes. I have to get this Venus. That secret technique needs more original spirit race Master God tier to assist me. With this Venus, in less than 10,000 years, our race should be able to produce enough Master God tiers. Then, they can assist me use the mystic technique to enter that mystic realm. Perhaps I can find the resources to advance to the Supreme God realm from that mystic realm. In the Chaos Sea's Golden Crow domain, Great One looked at Venus, the fire in his eyes as bright as the Supreme Sun star. Venus, who else can be the number one race in the myriad worlds if one owned this race's divine artifact? It's also very likely to be able to take down the Lord of all races. It will definitely become mine notwithstanding, though this is something that all species covet. The Great One Lord declared with ambition.